everyone. Today I thought let's try a nifty experiment. Now this experiment is going to happen over a couple days, so this is like day one of our experiment. Now remember, the whole point of an experiment is to try something new, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So in today's experiment, we're going to be using some eggs. Get it? Experiment. So if you notice when I'm holding this egg and I push on it, it's not squishy right now. It is very hard and it is smooth and my egg is very white. So for this experiment, I'm going to use 1, 2, 3 eggs. And I'll show you. Each of them is hard and white. And they're all very smooth. Right now they're pretty cold because they just came out of my fridge. So I've got 3 eggs that we're going to use for this experiment. And I have 3 clear glasses, 1, 2, and 3, so that we're able to observe what's happening, because part of doing an experiment is doing an observation. And then the other items that are needed for our experiment is I'm going to be using some Coca-Cola, some vinegar, and some grape juice. So, like I said, I'm going to put each one of these eggs into one of the glass cups that I have. So I'm putting the hard egg into the cup. 1, 2, 3. And I'm putting them in very gently because eggs are very hard, but we know that if we drop an egg, that the eggshell will crack and the egg would come oozing out. And I don't want our eggs oozing out of our shells. I want our shells to be hard and solid when we do this experiment. So with egg number 1, I'm going to take our Coca-Cola. Whoopsie. And I'm going to fill it up in the cup until it covers our hard white egg. And I'll probably fill the cup about halfway. And I'll make sure that each one. So there is our hard white egg in cup number 1 with the Coca-Cola. And in cup number 2, I am going to put our vinegar. Whoops, I need to open the vinegar. Ugh, it's tricky. Uh-oh. I forgot to bring something to open it. I should have pre-planned that. But an experiment is trying things. So part of an experiment is also trying to predict what do we think might happen. The vinegar, and I'm going to pour it in cup number 2 to the same amount that I put in of the Coca-Cola. Let me tell you that the vinegar definitely does not smell like the Coca-Cola. It's kind of stinky. Where the Coca-Cola smelled sweet, I'm just measuring to make sure I have the same amount. Okay, so there is cup number 2 with our hard white egg in there. I don't know if you can see, but see, it's starting to bubble already. So there's an observation of something already happening with our egg. And then I'm going to repeat our experiment by putting the grape juice in cup number 3 with our hard white egg. Whoops, spilled some on myself there. Let me just put them beside to measure to make sure they're the same. Oh, a little bit more it needs. Okay, so it has the same amount as our vinegar and our Coke. Hard white eggs are now in 3 different liquid. In cup number 1, we have our egg in Coca-Cola. In cup number 2, we have our egg in vinegar. And in cup number 3, we have our cup in grape juice. I noticed that cup number 1 in the Coca-Cola and number 2 in the vinegar are bubbling, but I noticed that number 3 in the grape juice is just staying still. It's not doing anything. So I'm wondering, when I check these in 12 hours, what will happen to these eggs? I want to make a prediction that I think our egg that's in the Coca-Cola is going to turn brown, and that our egg in the vinegar will remain white, and that our egg in the grape juice will turn purple. The thing I wonder about is whether the shells will still be hard or if the liquid will make them soften. I also wonder, like when I drop an egg, everything oozes out. So will these egg shells break? And then when I check the liquids again, it'll just be oozy egg in the liquid? Or will they still be a whole egg? Well, we'll have to see what happens in 12 hours. Day 2. And let's see what's happened with our eggs in the last 12 hours. So I'll start with our Coca-Cola number 1 and use my spoon to gently take it out and see what's going on. Oh, so far I've observed, if you can see there, that the egg has changed color a little bit, which was kind of what I had predicted. I thought it would change color. It's gone to brown. I'm just going to put it in my water here just to give it a little rinse and give it a wipe off. Now, the thing I want to see though is, you can see it has changed color, but the shell is still hard after 12 hours. That has not changed. I'm going to gently put our egg back into our Coca-Cola. So it did change color gently because I don't want it to, but it did not change the texture of the shell. It's still smooth and hard. Just wipe our tray off here. And we'll look and wipe my spoon off, and let's see what's going on with our vinegar. The other observation just before taking out of the vinegar that I noticed is that our Coca-Cola egg and our grape juice egg are still sitting on the bottoms of their cups, but that our vinegar egg is floating. So let's take out our vinegar egg now and see what we can observe has happened to it. Now, unlike our Coca-Cola egg, our vinegar egg seems to have this fizz on it, like a foam. So let me just give it a rinse off. So far, that egg is still white, which is kind of what in my prediction I had said might happen. I'll give it a little dry off. So it didn't change color, but it is looking like it's starting to lose some of its white. I don't know if you can notice it there. And when I squeeze the egg, this egg is no longer hard like the one in the Coca-Cola. It's become spongy and squishy. And ooh, I could almost bounce it without it breaking. So I'm going to gently put that back in our vinegar so we can check that later. Okay, let's take out one in our grape juice and see what's going on. So what do you think? Do you think it'll be like the Coca-Cola and still be hard, or squishy like the one in the vinegar? Let's see. I'm going to lift it out. Oh, it's got a bit of, see that little bit of foam on there? That was like our vinegar. It's not as foamy as the vinegar one, but there is some there. Like our Coca-Cola one, it has changed color and taken on the purple like the grape juice, like the Coca-Cola took on the brown. Let me just give it a little rinse and a little wipe off. So it is still purple. It is definitely not squishy like our vinegar egg was. It is still hard like the Coca-Cola one. So I'm going to put it back into the grape juice. So what I'm thinking right now that I could say is the one that floated was the one that went squishy, and the two that stayed at the bottom have remained to have their hard shell. So I'm predicting that when we check these eggs again in 12 hours, that our Coca-Cola and our grape juice will still be hard, and that our vinegar one is going to get more squishy. And then we'll put them to the test on our 3rd day, and I will actually drop the eggs, and we'll see if they break and they ooze, or do they remain solid. Start with day 3. So let's go to our first one
and see what's happening in our Coca-Cola. It's floating on the bottom. Oh, it's really dark now. See that? I'll give her just a little rinse. Make sure we get any residue off. And a little wipe. So it's day 3, and our Coca-Cola egg is still very hard. So today we're going to do the test. So let's drop it and see if our prediction is true, whether we still have an ooey gooey egg inside, or if it's going to bounce, or what might have changed from being in the Coca-Cola. Here we go. Oh, it cracked. Therefore, our egg was still hard enough. Let me drop it again and see if it's ooey inside. Oh, definitely still ooey gooey. And look, it's a full egg inside. The egg didn't change at all. Still clear with a yellow yolk. All right, let me move that plate out of the way so we can see what happened with our egg in the vinegar. Now remember, it was floating on the top before. It's now sunk to the bottom on day 3. Let me pull her out. Give her, oops, a little wipe. Rinse. Wipe. Now the shell is completely gone. There's no hard shell on this anymore. Just the membrane. It's not as white as what it was. It's a little bit translucent in some spots. Let's try the drop test. Oh, it broke. I thought it was going to bounce with how squishy it was. But the egg has changed a little bit inside. So as our other one, we had a hard shell. This one we've got, see, you can see the membrane still left there. And the egg has changed a little bit inside. It doesn't have that translucent white. It's gone cloudy. And the yolk is kind of encased there. All right. Let me just give that a little dump. And get our next plate. All right, let's see what's happening to our grape juice. So our grape juice, if you notice, you can see there's like some kind of film forming there on the top of our cup. And it's got a lot of foam around it. Rinse that off. Ooh, that foam, as I'm rinsing it, it's kind of crunchy-like texture. So this egg is no longer smooth. It's now got like a rough kind of, like almost like salt, gritty texture to it. I'm just going to use the towel just to give a little wipe off before we do the test. So let's see, will this egg, will the purple have soaked into the inside? It's still hard like our Coca-Cola egg was. Will it break? Will it have a clear? Will it have that membrane-y thing inside? Ready? Here we go. Oh, it cracked. And it's oozing. Let me do it again. Oh, and the color didn't take to the egg inside. It stayed clear with a yellow yolk. So there's our 3-day experiment with the eggs. So what we found is our Coca-Cola and our grape, the egg stayed hard. It did take on the color of the liquid we used. It didn't absorb through into the egg. And they did smash and crack, and they were still ooey and gooey inside. Our vinegar egg, the shell did dissolve on the egg. It went rubbery, so we could squish it. But when we dropped it, it still broke, and except for that the vinegar had gone through and changed the texture of the inside of the egg. So I hope you enjoyed our 3-day egg experiment. And I'd like to see what you try. What kind of liquids do you come up with? And let us know what happened to your eggs. Have fun exploring!